We're going to use Snazzy Maps as a way of generating our background for our interface design for the kiosk. So fairly easy to set up. You register email, address, your name, you drop that in. I already got one set up, so I'll just go ahead and log in. And from here, you have the option of creating a map for a website using Google Maps and modifying the style so you don't get the generic Google map. So if we click on the map here, this is the standard Google interface, and this is the Google map. You can click on it and drag around the way you would in any other location. And the idea is that you would change the style. So here we have some snazzy styles that you can choose from, and they've got, in this particular case, they've got 4,000 of them. You can kind of page through these and see different styles and click on it and it changes it to the style that you want. And so it's letting you see what, if you had the website, what that interface would look like. And you also have the option of creating your own custom style. In here, in this area, you can make modifications. And if you want a better way of making the selection of the other styles, you go to Explore Styles. And here they've got close to 3,000 styles that you can choose from. So you just page your way through these and see if there's anything that you like. And so if there's something that looks kind of interesting stylistically, you can choose that. And again, you notice that this has all the map information, but none of the street information. You would have to modify it. But we're not going to work this way with it. We're not in the preview mode. We're going to go to create our own style. And in here, it goes back to the default Google setup. And it doesn't matter for us that we're using this because we're going to be able to change the colors in Illustrator. The idea is to generate the background without any of the text or icon information, and then we'll use that to do an Adobe Illustrator auto trace on it, on the background. So if you were to go to someplace like Disneyland, and we zoom in here, I'm going to just zoom in with my mouse and just pulling it in, you can see you can get in pretty close and get a lot of detail. So if you were doing something for Fantasyland, you could essentially mark out all the rides in that area. And or maybe you're doing something for California Adventure. You could do that in those different categories as well, or the hotel. But in our case, we want to go to Yosemite, or in my example that I'm working on. And I'm interested in working in the valley, Yosemite Valley. So let's turn off everything that I don't want on first. So if I go to all, I have the option of turning off all the icons. So all the icons go away. And then I can also turn off all the text. And this is what I want so that I can generate my outline. If I move this over in here, you can see that I only really want this information over here. And so if right now, since I'm working in an HD formatted monitor, the resolution is going to be relatively small. It really doesn't matter that much for this picture in here since I'm going to be doing an auto trace anyway. Um, but the other option in here, well, one of my options I should say, is I'll go back over here, is to take a picture of this. So I can come back over here and set up for an image for the download. And then over here I'm going to increase the size and move this around pretty much where I want it. And I do want this part of the map in there, so I'll make that a little bit wider. And that's about the size of the map that I want. And that should be pretty good in terms of getting everything I want out of it. So right now the resolution and its width is 1,000, but I can triple the size of that. So this is going to make it a 3,000 by a 1,500 size image. So that should be enough for me to work in doing the auto trace. So I'll go ahead and download that image. and it'll launch it up in here in my preview app. And so we can see what the images looks like. And it's pretty big. It's a good size image. And that's more than big enough to do auto traces or to follow the lines of the various trails that I have. Okay, so we're going to close that. Now I also want to use a reference for the street, the various road names, and also some other locations. So I'm going to go back to my create a style, and same setup in here, but this time I'm going to turn on all my text is all going to go on, and so too are going to be the icons. So I'll turn those on as well. And now I'm going to use this image to reference where everything goes. And I'll be creating my own styles either in Adobe Illustrator or in Animate for the icons. So I'll go ahead and save this again. And again, this one in here was full throttle. And this one over here was 500, so I'm pretty much back to where I was before. And it actually doesn't even really matter because I can get more information out of it, but that's about it. I do know there's some of the trails that I'm going to reference go down into here, but I think these mostly start over here. But again, if I'm using this as a reference, I can take a picture of that. Maybe I can back away just a little bit, see how much, nope, I lost some information. See how I lose this trailhead, the missed trailhead, if I make it too small. So I'm going to make that larger. Okay, so it doesn't look like I'm going to get everything I want out of this picture, and if I try to save it in here, I'm just not going to get the resolution out of it. So the trick I'm going to do, just so that I can see what I'm working with, is I'm going to get out of here. So I'll go back to the create style. The style's set okay, but all I need to do is close this, and now I can see everything at the resolution. I still have that missed trailhead, and I can see the maps. This is information I don't need, but I get the lay of the land. And so what I want to do with this is just take a screenshot. So I'm going to do a Command Shift 3, takes a screenshot, and now I'll have something that I can reference when it comes time for me to put the various trail locations in there. Okay, so the way I'm going to generate the map is with information from all trails. And in here they have a list of their top 10 trails in Yosemite. And I only stuck to the ones that were within the valley. So they actually have more than 10. And I was able to include, I think, up to 14. And the nice thing about this is that if I click on this, this will take me to the map view. And in the map view, I can essentially see exactly where everything is supposed to be. And so I can always come back and reference that. Here's that kind of dog-faced look that's part of the larger trail. So I'll know exactly where to place it. And so I already copied all the trail names and I put them in an Excel file so that I can reference them later. And so the next step then is to take these files, bring them into Adobe Illustrator, make an outline, get that straightened out, and then it's just a matter of taking the artwork into Animate.